there's a couple questions that you need to ask yourself. Them being, what am I improving for? And am I comfortable in this? They're important because oftentimes we let other circumstances and external features dictate why we improve and what we're trying to work towards. I think myself, I have often found myself wanting to improve, but for the wrong reasons. I'm not improving for myself to gain anything from it. If anything, I'm improving for someone or something. And if you're improving for something else or someone else, then nothing you're doing is going to be authentic to you. And 9 times out of 10, it won't actually be the outcome that you want, because you'll force yourself to change as a person and develop in some ways, and you end up at a point where you're not the person you want to be, and then potentially you lose this reason that you've changed for, and then you end up further back than when you started, because you've changed for something in the wrong way, and then the thing that has made you change has left. And then what are you left with? You're giving yourself a harder task. You should always want to change, and want to change for yourself to get, whether it's a better quality of life or to find more enjoyment in things, or it could be for any reason, as long as it's for yourself. Personally and currently, I'm trying to focus on changing for myself into a person that I want to be even more than now. Because you need to be satisfied with where you are currently. I think you should always be accepting of who you are, but you can always be excited. I'm almost giddy at the kind of person that will become once I'm able to kind of iron out these patterns that I find myself in, or these behaviours that I don't really understand, but I know that it's for myself, and when it's for myself, I understand it, and I'm able to give it out. I'm able to display it, these new traits, or these discoveries, or anything like that. It can be something that you then have the ability to put into the universe, and I don't want to say into the universe, I'm not in like a cosmic sense, as in, you just externalize it to the world, and it's authentic to you, so it's what you want, so you have actually progressed. You haven't thought that you have progressed, but it's actually unintentionally not you. Could it even be corrupted from other people? Anything can happen, so you do need to almost check yourself. It doesn't have to be daily, but if you find yourself wanting to do a certain thing, or develop a certain trait, or master something, or anything like that, you should always, before any action is taken, make sure that it is something that you want to do and you're willing to do. And it doesn't take much, that's what I mean. It literally takes what are you changing for? Or who are you changing for? If you want to phrase it like that, for that circumstance. And the second part, are you comfortable with that? The answer should be no. Because what growth are you gonna, or improvement are you gonna find from staying in your comfort zone and doing what you know, or sticking to certain behaviours, or limiting yourself in this box because it's things you've experienced and you're hesitant of the unknown, which a lot of people are. And it shouldn't be something that you should be ashamed of, because I myself was very much trying to keep myself in my own comfort blanket and almost reassure myself in that, you know, it's not something that I have to worry about because I'm keeping myself as comfortable as possible. But then, you know, I thought if you're not going to be uncomfortable in your change and if you're not being challenged, then you're simply existing as your past self in the present. You know, you're dragging these behaviors or ideals or thoughts or beliefs or anything. You're dragging it all with you from the past and stubbornly trying to display it as your current emotion or your current thought process, and it will get to a point where staying in that comfort blanket is just going to limit you to existing as your past self. It's like putting a limiter on a Lamborghini, you know? You've got the potential to floor it and end up going, you know, 200 miles an hour, but you've put this limiter on, you're like sticking it 70. Where's the fun in that, you know? And how do you expect any significant growth or development mentally if you're just giving everything to yourself easily, or even preventing yourself from going in any sort of other direction because of the ease of it, and because, like I say, humans are inherently lazy. They don't want to do anything. We've been bred and indoctrinated this short-term, bad memory, lazy, easygoing, awful people. Western culture has, you know, ruined this generation, and not even this generation. You know, generations above and below will definitely be influenced by it. But you can tell it more and more. People are lazy and they don't want to take any significant step because they don't think they need to, because everything nowadays is given to you quickly and easily, and you know, if you got money you can get anything pretty much nowadays. And people develop that mindset, and you do need to give yourself these reality checks. It can just be these two questions, just so you know that you're doing something intentionally. You're not just existing, you're living with a purpose. And that's something that I'm definitely not an expert at, but something that I'm trying more than anything to tell myself and remind myself every day that you have to live with intent. You have to live with a purpose and an idea of that you're going somewhere. You know, you're not just chugging along, existing. You're actually making proactive movements towards someone that you want to be, or something that you want to be, or some position that you want to be in. You can have any sort of motivation. You don't even have to have motivation. You can just be disciplined. But you got to get real with yourself sometimes. You know, you've got to have some objectivism, see things for how they are, and just tell yourself, you know, are you doing this for the right reasons? And if not, it's not for you. It has to be for you. Any step forward that you make has to be based on yourself. Otherwise you're living someone else's life. You're not living your own life. You become a slave to someone else or something else. So be purposeful. Give yourself those uncomfortable reality checks sometimes, and tell yourself that in this discomfort, that's where you're going to find your most growth.